What's good, family? Shout out to my doggy Ebby for coming through and boosting up your man the YB coin 100%. So, as you might have seen by the title, it's super duper peak for Eddie Hearn from Down Bad Room Promotions. Yeah, Eddie Hearn lost the DAZN bid to hold the AJ versus Alexander USYK pay-per-view, rematch pay-per-view. Here we go. Sky Sports have reportedly won the rights to broadcast the Alexander USYK Anthony John Stewart fight in the UK, beating a bid from Down Bad Zone, despite John Stewart agreeing a deal with DAZN last month. The Telegraph's Gareth A. Russell Crowe Davies was the first to report this development. The fight for all three belts that USYK won from John Stewart in London last September takes place in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. It goes on. John Stewart previously had an exclusive deal with Sky, which ran out after the first USYK fight, and less than 4 weeks ago, DAZN, who agreed a UK deal with John Stewart's promoter Eddie Hearn last summer, unveiled they had signed a long-term global partnership with John Stewart. They said the groundbreaking deal made John Stewart a global ambassador for DAZN, as well as an advisor and shareholder, with rumours that it tied John Stewart in for 10 fights. Oh my, 10 fights. He must be having a giraffe. However, the deal did not come with the rights to the USYK rematch, which were held by the Saudi organisers, who had paid a reported £100 million for the right to host the fight, as well as the biggest bid. The Saudis were keen to get the fight the biggest possible profile, and it is understood that the BBC had also been offered the chance to bid for the fight. John Stewart will be bidding to become world champion for the third time. There you go then, rest of the waffle, but end of the day, well, in summary, I mean, initially I started off saying Eddie Hearn's been punked, but in reality, Eddie Hearn has just mugged off DAZN once more. Now, when I did my original video a few weeks ago, which was talking about this new Joshua DAZN deal, I said at the time that DAZN, from what I've heard, aren't too happy with Eddie Hearn. Yeah, don't forget they cut his funding. There's been a lot of things that have been going on. The reason, it's not rocket science why DAZN aren't too happy with Hearn. Yeah, it's been 5-6 years or however many years it's been. And what have they got? They've got pretty much no assets to their name. For example, they invested God knows how much in Canelo. What did they really get for that? Not a lot back. Same as AJ, paid him a whole bunch. What have they got for that? Nothing. They're having to pay him again. But on that basis, in this new deal, Team AJ made a big deal out of, oh yeah, they've given us shares and they've given us ownership. And I said in my video, that's DAZN punking AJ. Yeah, because DAZN know their shares are only worth something, really, if AJ is able to do something. Realistically speaking, especially in the UK. The UK part of the business only has any value if AJ ends up beating USYK. If he doesn't, I mean, a 10-fight deal, I guess there is a lot of you suckers out there who will carry on buying AJ pay-per-views, but in the broad scheme of things, the value of AJ after losing to USYK twice and having no belts is what? It's just a bit of a circus show at that point. There's no real boxing integrity. But like I said, who knows? I'm sure there's a whole bunch of you clown-dons are queuing up. Yeah, a whole bunch of you thin-cut cats can't wait to put your coins in to get bumped by DAZN. So I mean, maybe I'm wrong here, but bearing in mind all of AJ's deals up until this point have been pure cash, and now I did say in that video that, especially in the black culture at the moment, everyone's trying to suck off ownership. Ownership's only good if you're owning something good. Yeah. But it's no good getting hung up on, I'm an owner, I'm a business owner. You want to own something that's worth something. You don't want to own something that's only worth something if you do well. Yeah? DAZN only has, them DAZN shares are only worth something to AJ if he ends up beating USYK and going on to beat Fury and whatever else. It holds, if he get, I mean, all jokes aside, if AJ gets beat by USYK again, them shares, I mean, let's be realistic now. Canelo's old, or getting old, AJ's old, and having been beat by USYK twice. What's there? Dillian Whyte, any clout Dillian Whyte had is as good as gone, really, now that we've seen him knocked out by Fury in one punch. So what DAZN really going to be doing? Okay, Conor Benn, maybe. Even with Conor Benn, there's some rumours he's going to be on Sky. Because people, these fighters, they don't give a F about DAZN. Yeah? That's Eddie Hearn's problem. These fighters like Conor Benn, they want the Sky market. If you're selling a pay-per-view in the UK, you want that. Now, it's a possibility DAZN can carry on doing what they've been doing, and that's wasting money. Because essentially what's happened is, DAZN have been paying over the last, how many years? 5 years. They've been paying over the odds, and very little's been coming back. For example, when Sky put on a show, they have heaps coming back because they have a huge pay-per-view platform. Yeah? But when DAZN pay AJ heaps out, 30 mil for this, 30 mil for that, the numbers ain't adding up. So it's all ending up coming out of their budget. Whereas Sky actually runs a profitable business. Whatever Sky's been paying AJ, yeah, they've been not only breaking even on that, they've been making profit. The same can't be said for DAZN. Yeah? So now, it's not really a shocker in my opinion that DAZN have been punked. Because like I said, number one, Eddie Hearn and DAZN's relationship is stressed. And all Eddie Hearn's been doing is trying to line his own pockets. That's why he was paying these record paydays out to Canelo, to AJ. Because he gets a big... Eddie Hearn's essentially double dipping. He gets a dip in on the DAZN side, and he gets a dip in on the AJ side as well. So really, I can't lie to you, DAZN have made a bad... When DAZN teamed up with someone, they should have done so. And the person they were working with should have been completely loyal to them. You shouldn't work with someone who's got... I guess it's difficult. How would you get fighters that way? I don't know. But the point is, Eddie Hearn throughout this relationship with DAZN has had mixed loyalties. Yeah? His loyalty himself, that's number one. But you need someone who's integral to DAZN to be representing. Because think of all the plays Eddie Hearn's made for DAZN over these years. Which ones have really benefited DAZN? They were paying $40 million for Canelo to fight some Turkish Don no one's ever heard of. Have you ever heard of that before? A man being paid $40 million to fight a random dude that no one heard of that lasts one round. Them kind of plays. Yeah? And now, even when Eddie Hearn's mugged DAZN off to some extent, he's still doing it. Because now AJ, the one fight potentially that the one fight of value AJ has left to offer. Obviously, if AJ wins, they're laughing. If he loses though, but again, really the buck stops with DAZN. Why are DAZN offering AJ a 10-fight deal for? Unless, of course, which is a big possibility, of course, they know something we don't. If AJ goes in there, yeah, and blows USYK out the water, then we'll know it was a big fix. Which I wouldn't be shocked these days. You just don't know what people are doing for money. Yeah? For all we know, AJ put a whole big bag to lose, and then you're going to go in there. And if he does, obviously, if he goes in there, gets schooled in, it wasn't a fix. But I don't care what no one says. It'd be a miracle, based on what we've seen over the last 4 years, for AJ to suddenly be able to flick the switch again. If he does do that, it will stink to the high heavens of some sort of weird thing. But the way DAZN are splashing out cash, it's one of two things. Either they're super low IQ with business still, or number two, they're running maybe DAZN are involved in some sort of money laundering thing. Because that whole business never made no sense, did it? Let's be real now. DAZN has not made no sense from the jump. And I get it, we're investing in streaming and look at Netflix. Yeah, Netflix has the best version of that, and they're halfway tits up at the moment. So it's like DAZN. What is DAZN? DAZN's really only as good. That's not even true. I was about to say DAZN is really only as good as their best fighter, but they had the best fighters, and it still didn't work. I mean, you've peaked out. If DAZN couldn't make a profitable business, after having AJ and Canelo on the platform, you're all in at that point. If your business don't work with them, it's never going to get better than that, is it? You're never going to have a better stable than AJ and Canelo on the same team. Oops. Then again, Eddie Hearn alleges it's all been working out. I don't believe that for a second. I don't believe the numbers have been adding up. Not even for a little bit. But it begs the question, if the numbers haven't been adding up, YB, how are they able to keep offering these massive deals? Like I said, there's something fishy going on behind closed doors, financially speaking. But anyway, man, listen. End of the day, like I said, Eddie Hearn has mugged off DAZN. And Eddie Hearn will have told AJ, listen, AJ, man, DAZN can't offer you a lick, man. And I guess you can say, well, YB, this is the Saudi thing, I don't care what it is. Yeah? Eddie Hearn, depending on which way you look at it, either Eddie Hearn's been mugged off, or your man's DAZN being mugged off. Yeah? If you believe Eddie Hearn is all the way team DAZN, then Eddie Hearn's been mugged off. If you think Eddie Hearn is working for himself, then DAZN been mugged off. That's the bottom line here. Because either way you look at it, what we know is, from Eddie Hearn and DAZN's point of view, there's no way Sky should be winning it. It just looks bad. Simple as that. It looks super bad. Why wouldn't DAZN have... I find it contradictory that DAZN have bid for a 10-fight deal, but then didn't bid for this one. This one's of all the fights of AJ in the future, outside of AJ Fury, this is the biggest one. If there's ever a fight you want to commit to financially, it'd be this one, wouldn't it? This is the big one. Even if AJ wins this one, going forward, outside of the Fury fight, which ones are more popular? If I was running some sort of TV or some sort of network, this would be the fight. Yeah? AJ versus USYK, the rematch. This is do or die at this point. Once, let's say AJ carries on, let's say AJ does have a 10-fight deal, yeah? Even if AJ beats Fury, yeah? Or beats USYK and beats Fury, his defences from that point. So AJ is undisputed versus Dubois. I'm not sure that fight's even bigger than this one. And that's my point. So why didn't DAZN go all in for this? Maybe we'll soon find out. If AJ smokes USYK, then it will make a lot more sense, because they're obviously more concerned with the long term. But anyway, man, really, no one really cared, but